Hey everybody, I'm just going to do a quick tutorial on how to invite me or Matt Webster or anybody that uses Google Docs to an appointment to see if they can come help you or invite them in. So to add things to your calendar, basically first step is you go up to your little waffle iron of apps here and you make sure you go to calendar. Once you go into calendar, you'll have a screen that looks a lot like mine here. You can, on the left-hand side, if there's calendars you've been shared, you can look for them here. So for instance, Matt Webster, I've been shared on his calendar, so I can search his name, and then he'll pop up down here. If I want to see his calendar, I can turn it on and off by clicking this little colorful square, so you can see how awfully busy he is. And then you could also change the colors by clicking to the right. So maybe I want my school year stuff to be a different color, I can change it there. But besides of all that, once you know you have a time you want to invite someone to something, all you do is you pick the slot of time. So let's say this afternoon, Thursday afternoon at 5 o'clock, I want to invite somebody to something, maybe Matt to do a webinar. And what you do is you can create the event and you're done. But at this point, you haven't actually invited anyone to anything, you've just created the event. So your other option is to edit event, and you can do that when you create it or afterwards. And when you go to edit event, you want to get to a screen that looks like this. This is where all the magic happens. You can tell them where they need to go. You can describe what's going to happen there. You can do it virtually through a video call and not even show up to the same place. You can add an attachment like a Google Doc or a Microsoft Word document you might work on together. Overall, the last and most important thing, you can change times and dates up here. The last and most important thing, though, is you have to invite the person. So you have to add the guest. So in this case, I would add Matt Webster. And now you see down here that he's been added. If you did it by accident, you can hit the X to get rid of him. You can also allow him to modify the event or invite other people by clicking these. And at that point, the last thing you have to do to make sure that he gets notified that you've asked him to show up is you have to hit save. When you hit save, it'll say, do you want to send an invitation to that person? Well, you better, or probably Matt or I will not be able to show up because we won't get it. At that point in our email, you will get a notification. You can say yes, no, or maybe, and you can actually reply to the person or just reply to the event. You can always check back to see if the person's replied by looking over here. So at this point, there's no check mark. That means Matt has not replied yet. So I should not assume that he's going to show up until I see a check mark. And at that point, I can follow up with an email if anything changes. Also, if I make any changes, let's say I wanted to update it, and actually we need to do it at 5:30 and not 5. I change the time, I hit save, and then it says, do you want to let him know that it's changed? I would probably let the person I invite know that the time has changed. Otherwise, you could be in trouble and they won't show up. At that point, I would hit send, and he'll get a second notification saying, whoops, not 5, but 5:30. If you guys have any questions, feel free to give me a shout. Thanks.